Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're reviewing a 2023 Chrysler 300. Before we get in this video though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Doug Smith Dodge Ram Jeep Chrysler here in Spanish Fork, Utah for giving me some time with this 300. I'm going to include a link to their inventory in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. And then on a side note, if you want to save time, money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Powering this is a naturally aspirated 3.6 liter V6 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 18 around town and then 27 on the highway, with power outputs being about 300 horsepower and then about 260 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we go over the front end, I do want to mention if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the hood, you guys can see that you've got like this distinctive like cut there in the center, but then it's flat for the most part. And then coming down below, look at the daytime running lights and the headlights, and the overall front end design is very like Bentley-esque. I mean, look at the logo, for goodness sake. And then you guys can see here with the lighting down below, fog light, all that kind of stuff. Parking sensors integrated in the front end as well. Putting it all together, although the 300's design hasn't changed all that much over the years, I still think it's a pretty good looking car. Come around the side here, our tire wheel setup is 235/55/19 in the front and over in the rear as well. You guys can see here with the wheel design, notice how it's metallic gray, and I think the spoke design is pretty cool overall. Now look at the fender here, and then you guys can see with the mirrors, door handles also body painted. And then taking a look at the side view here, again, I think with the bulging fenders and everything, it's a cool look. Now taking a look at the key fob here, you guys can see we've got our unlock function or lock function, the opening here for the trunk, and then the remote start, and then Chrysler logo. Now popping into the trunk area, I mean, it is absolutely massive, and that's one of the big benefits of the 300 and the Dodge Charger, right? They've got lots of storage. And then plopping that down, you guys can see the badges here in the back are all blacked out, which is pretty cool. And then look at the taillights here as well. You can see parking sensors here at the bottom, and then look at the covers over the exhaust tips. Finishing things up, you can definitely tell that this car was designed in, well, a slightly different era than today, but it still looks good. Now taking a look at the door panel here, you can see the wood insert at the top, and then look at the trim down below as well. And then we have these fancy leather seats. You can see perforated all down the center portion. Now legroom here in the back is actually pretty dang solid. We got a little storage pocket here. We got some vents. We also have heated seats in the back. We have a sunshade as well, which is kind of funny. And then we got some USBs on top of that. And of course, cup holder armrest. And for those of you wondering, headroom back here is pretty good. Now taking a look at the front door panel here, you guys can see again with the wood trim, and then yeah, look at all the padding down below. Over when it controls front to rear automatic, you got your memory seats, and then blind spot monitoring for the mirrors. And then here's the front seat, notice perforated all down the center portion there, and then you got some power adjustments here on the side. Light control right here, and then that is for the trunk release. Steering wheel is power adjustable. Now taking a look at the steering wheel, we've got really nice padding all around. You guys can see radio controls in the back with our cruise control, controls for the center stack, volume voice command controls as well. And then taking a look at the center stack itself, I think the gauges actually look really cool. And then you've got this little screen which we can scroll through to see different bits of info on the car. Pretty standard stuff, especially if you've seen my reviews on other products from Stellantis. Got our backup camera here with trajectory lines that do turn with the steering wheel. And then as for the rest of the infotainment system, you guys can see we've got, well, dual zone climate. We have our controls for our heated and ventilated seats, heated steering wheel. Now, when it comes to response time, it's pretty solid. It does take a second sometimes for some of the screens to load up, but I mean, you can see pressing the buttons. Overall, it's a solid screen. And then you guys probably noticed the Chrysler clock just up above. And then here's the dash. You've got some like padding all over, or soft touch as well. And then you guys can see down below, we've got our analog controls for the radio, dual zone climate controls, and then little wood trim that covers that all up. And yeah, you can see it's all around this area too. And then look at the little dial shifter. Got some cup holder action here, and then notice at the center console, got some USBs, auxiliary, all that. And then pretty normal glove box as well. And then up top you do have like a sunglass holder, and then just a lighter colored headliner. Now here's our window sticker for this Chrysler 300. You guys can see the base MSRP, and then here's the total MSRP after all options, $43,470. And let's see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's visibility over the hood. Both of the mirrors do a blind spot monitoring, and throughout the rest of the rear. And, well, let's set off. Well, setting off in Le 300, right? And this will probably be the last 300 review that I ever do, unless I have a chance to review that crazy SRT version that apparently will be in the future. Last call, right? But I want to talk about the 300 with this review, right? Because they're obviously getting rid of this and the Charger and all that kind of stuff, right? Stellantis is moving in a new direction with their cars. But, you know, I would say that, like, the company wouldn't have to get, or shouldn't, I shouldn't say wouldn't have to, but wouldn't be getting rid of the car if it was more successful. And I want to talk about what could have been done originally to make this car more successful. So first off, let's talk about what it does good. So Mercedes-Benz platform, and it's an older platform, so it's heavier, but it leads to really good ride quality, like super comfortable. It's not the most spacious car on the planet, but it feels pretty big in here. And so it has this like boat-like comfort luxury feel, which I feel like is really, like, it makes sense with Chrysler, right? And then, you know, some other stuff that do good, like the seats. These seats are very nice. Like the texture on them, I think, is pretty solid for the most part. And, you know, having the heated cooled functions also great as well. So I think there's a lot going for it from that perspective. And, you know, then when it comes to features, pretty solid. Again, at the price point that this is at, I think they've done a good job with all of that. But now that kind of leads me into talking about the things that I think are, let's just say, not so great. So, like, it's kind of like hard touch, and this should be real leather trim. Again, if they really wanted to sell Chrysler as like the luxury offshoot, right? Then nicer material use throughout, and then like same thing with this high gloss wood trim. This is like so mid 2000s, right? Everyone's gone for, like, I mean, look at like the Ram 1500 Limited, right? It's got like the nice grain finish with the wood trim, so it just feels a lot more upscale and everything. So I just don't know why they, you know, chose to continue to use this type of wood trim with the car. Now the next thing is the powertrain. So this V6, the 8-speed automatic, it's fine. But again, for what this car is trying to be, right, a luxury car in a way, it's not a luxury powertrain. And the thing that's sad is, like, Stellantis actually has some really cool powertrains now. We've got like the new Hurricane powertrain, for example, right? It's a turbo inline 6, and that powertrain in this car would be fantastic. I mean, that'd be like a great competitor to BMW, Audi, Mercedes, and all that. And the thing that this would have over those cars is those cars are all focused on being as sporty as possible, whereas with this, they can just give it the big power, right, and then have the focus on luxury. There's a lot of people that want that. So overall, I think for the money that they ask for one of these, right, this is less expensive than the average brand new car. It's fine. But I think if they wanted this car to actually stand out and I feel like carry the torch for the Chrysler brand name, they should have spent a little bit more money in the interior with this car, because again, this is ultimately trying to be kind of like a luxury car competitor. And so if this interior would have been fine for a luxury car like 20 years ago, but you know, now in 2023, I mean, you have like, yeah, you have cars that are less expensive than this that have maybe the materials aren't as nice, but like nicer designed interiors in terms of, you know, how everything looks and feels and everything. So let me know what you guys think about the Chrysler 300. Let me know what you think Chrysler should have done to make the 300 be more successful. But I feel like it would have been honestly pretty simplistic. Like I think the platform's fine. I don't think they would have needed to change the platform or anything like that. I think it would have been as simple as different powertrain with all-wheel drive with that higher performance powertrain, just like what they do with the S-Class. Nicer interior materials, that's it. They could keep the design. Just if they did that, I think that it would sell so much better.